My son was my first. He had almost no brain. Fingers and toes were fine. We counted them 100 times. But he never would have lived outside of me. For a week, I was selfish. Because I wanted to stay pregnant as long as possible so that his spirit could linger inside me. But something told me I had to stop holding on. My daughter was unique. She had odd-shaped kidneys, and her intestines stretched outside of her body like it was too cramped inside of her abdomen for all that. And her head was very small. Very small. I used to say it kept her modest. She had a cleft palate and club foot. She had webbing between her toes, and I used to say that it could help her swim in my amniotic fluid better. And her hands were always clenched in a fist. And I said it was because she was a fighter. She had trisomy 18. Others would call it Edwards syndrome. I kind of prefer that title because it sounds like a regal diagnosis, something that might affect royalty. Most women with a diagnosis choose to interrupt their pregnancy, and those that don't are more likely to have a stillbirth or a miscarriage than a live birth. Of the rare few that are born alive, half of them die in the first week, 8% survive longer than a year, 1% live to see their 10th birthday, if they can see. And I begged and I pleaded with God just to make her that 1%, to give me 10 years, just 5, okay, 1, because 1 would be even longer than I had with my son. But then I thought how hard it could be on her. All the surgeries and the medication, even if she did live, and I couldn't afford that. It was just me then. How could I make her suffer that way? How would I know if she was suffering? How would I know she just wanted to be free? She was so small. I just wanted to hold her. I just wanted to hold her and kiss her and make it better. But I couldn't. That's when I heard Spirit tell me that I didn't learn the lesson the first time with my son. I needed to let her go. So I ended the music of her heart and I broke mine into a million cactus needles, and each time I swallowed, I felt the prick and the stab and the blood of my voice and my choice that my child helped me make. So I come to this memorial and I'm surrounded by other mothers whose loss is raw and bitter and hard and fresh like venom spit from a snake. And they're angry and they're devastated and they're sobbing. Shoulders are hunched over, protecting the pieces that remain of their heart from blowing away. And I am afraid to tell them that I am one of those women. What if they knew that I was here because I had made the choice to end my children's suffering instead of waiting and watching them die? What if they think that my choice excludes me from their club because their grief is more real than mine? What if they knew and thought that I deserved this ache in my chest that reminds me every day of my choice and of my babies? They might not understand that I miss my babies as much as they do. Except they don't have to carve shame and guilt out of their love every time a tear falls. Especially today. Today when I remember with other mothers and fathers whose babies were stillborn or miscarried. Today when I get to speak their names, Matthew and Ella, with the other families lighting candles. Today when I carry my secret alone. So I don't say anything. The choice I made was never really a choice. I was being the best mom I could be to my babies. And there isn't a day that I don't go by that I don't miss them, that I don't miss my little angels, and that I don't feel guilt and shame, that I don't wish I had another choice. Even though I know it was the only choice I could make. When I saw my son, Jerome, on the ultrasound, I fell in love. I understood what love at first sight meant. He had hands and feet and fingers and eyes and ears, and he moved when I sang, and he kicked when I laughed. I loved him from the moment I knew I was pregnant. He was a life to me. I was attached. I was a mother. I am a mother. But according to your ideology, your theology, your God thought it was time for my baby to die. So I have no baby to hold in my arms. I don't know why he made the choice to give me life, to bring me the most amazing joy I've ever known, only to just take it back, to stop my son's heart and break mine into a million pieces. You who think you are doing God's work, you pass judgment. Just the way your God must have done to me. Must have thought I wasn't going to be a good enough mother. You pass judgment on the 14-year-old girl whose stepfather molests her and then gets her pregnant, and who seeks the DNC to end the life that's going to force her to remember every moment of that violation every time she sees that child's face. You pass judgment upon the 18-year-old girl who didn't know how to say no to the first boy who paid her a compliment because she had abstinence-only education and not a single moment of her education spent on her self-esteem. You pass judgment on the 22-year-old college student who regularly went to Planned Parenthood, who got condoms and pap smears, whose boyfriend's face fell the minute the rubber snapped. When these three women who have never met sit side by side in a clinic crying because each one knows she isn't ready to be a parent. She's not ready to sacrifice her life to raise another, who's afraid to tell her parents that she's scared of what will happen next when she walks into that exam room, but she's even more scared of what will happen to her life if she doesn't. And you would pass judgment on these three women who wait with visions of fetal tissue and blood and pain that they passed on their way in, still burning in the pit of their stomach, feeling like harlots and sinners and murderers and alone. They know what they're doing. They won't change their mind just because you scare them with damnation and murder, because they suddenly understand what it means to be able to make a choice. And the price they have to pay won't be the blood in their grandmother's back alley. At least, not today. When these women make the best choice for their own well-being, when these women declare that they are not just a vessel for breeding, when these women cry because they want to be mothers someday, just not today, when they're ready, when they have enough money, when they have a safe place to live, when they don't need government assistance to make sure that their child will survive. You act act like they're God, and you pass judgment on them. And you want to make them feel more guilt and shame because you don't like their choice. And you pass judgment on them like you think your God does, and you want to punish them for their sins. Why don't you punish the rapist or the molester or the drunken college frat boy or any of the other men who only have to pay the price of fatherhood if they choose to? You want to pass judgment on them, but not on your God who killed my baby? How dare you? Did you ever once think about somebody like me? When you hoist your banners and you have the posters of the aborted fetuses and you scream about fetal pain, did you ever imagine what it might be like for me to see them and to hear that? Me who wanted and loved my son is tortured by the idea that he might have been suffering inside of my womb. Did you ever think about me while he slowly starved of oxygen and nutrients because your God made him that way? Your God made my baby suffer, not me. I would have given anything to bring my son safely into this world, anything but my own life. I don't think I could ever do what your God did. I don't think I could ever choose to end a life that was growing inside of me, but this was not my choice. You know what? I want to bomb his clinic. I want to shoot him in the eye in his place of worship. I want to send him hate mail and threaten his son, and I want to ring his pearly gates with picket signs and protest because I want everyone who passes through there to know what kind of murderer he is. And yet, you would pass judgment on these three women, on all the women who I am not. If you want me to trust his judgment, why don't you trust theirs? You would pass judgment on all those women who I am not, but not turn that judgment on the God who killed my baby or the members of Congress who still have yet to pass any legislation that will help us find out what kills these babies, why they don't survive to term, why we have such high infant mortality rates. Your God and your House of Representatives care when it's a woman's choice, but not when 50% of us have no idea why our babies die. Life without my son is hell. And if anyone on this earth could proselytize and pass judgment on those who abort their pregnancies, it would be someone like me, who knows what it feels like to be forced to give birth to death, and yet I would never pass judgment. I would never pass judgment on a single person who had to carry the weight of choice in their hands. When you can force your God to let all wanted babies be born healthy, full term, and with enough means to care for them, then you can have the right to force everybody else to do the same. It's okay. I knew it would end this way. Your light was just so bright. Your soul attracted me, and I wanted to be the one that you gave birth to. I wanted you to share your light with me, to teach me, to love me. It was your light that was brighter to me than anyone else's. But I knew you couldn't keep me. I just thought that even for those few weeks with you, that I could learn from you that I could feel your heart beating, that I could feel your love, I could feel your spirit. You could write your beauty on my soul, even for those few days, and I would be able to be a part of you, and that would make me brighter for the next time. I was waiting. I was hoping there would be a right time when I could stay with you. I was there that night. We aren't very patient. We don't understand the concept of time the way you do. Knowing when it's the right time is very fuzzy. But I was there that night. It was a chance for me to come in. I couldn't wait, but you screamed so loud and the air was red. And just before I came, I thought, oh no, wait, she won't want me to come this way. She won't understand. I should wait, but I'm so close. I'm so close, I can't miss this chance. I can come in now, even if it's just for now. I don't want to pass this chance up. And then it was in. I was all the way in, and I was inside of you, and you were crying, and it was red and trembling and ragged and pounding and twisted and sticky and vomit and blood and thick and hard to breathe and pinching pain. And I felt everything that you felt. I was what you felt. And in that instant, I was all the horror and helplessness and anger and fear of being taken and used and violated and forced and trapped and robbed of your light. How could he do that? How could anyone do that? Holy light, how could anyone do that? I felt everything. I felt all of him. I felt all of you. I didn't know. I didn't mean to make it worse. I didn't know it would make you so sad. I'm so sorry. I know I have to go. I know I can't stay. I know. I wish I could tell you how beautiful your light is. I know that you're crying for me because you think you're hurting me. But don't listen to them. I knew before I came. I knew how it would end. Just listen to me. I picked you. I chose you. I feel your light. I'm sorry. I have a piece of your soul in me now. And you have a piece of my soul in you. That's the magic. That's the miracle of life. I know. I have to go now. I'm ready. I don't want you to hurt anymore. Please don't be sad. I'm ready to go back. It's okay. I'm going to wait for the right time now. I know what to look for. It's okay. Can you hear me? I'm okay.